Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever noticed that the people we miss the most are often the ones who aren't always around? In a world where we are constantly connected, texting, calling, and updating social media, we often forget the power of distance, the power of mystery, and the power of presence by absence in life. The things we desire the most are often the hardest to obtain. Whether it's a rare gemstone, a limited edition product, or the company of a busy yet intriguing person, scarcity makes something or someone more valuable. The principle of supply and demand doesn't just apply to economics, it applies to relationships, respect, and personal worth. When something is always available, it loses its exclusivity, and with that, its perceived value. Think about how people react to rare opportunities. A concert with only a few tickets left suddenly becomes a must-see event. A limited edition sneaker sells out in seconds because people know they might not get another chance to buy it. This same principle applies to personal presence. When you are constantly available, your presence is expected, not appreciated. However, when you make yourself less accessible, people start to notice your absence and crave your presence. The concept of scarcity increasing value is deeply rooted in psychology. Human beings naturally seek what they cannot have or what they feel might slip away. The fear of missing out, FOMO, drives people to act when they feel that something is limited. When you position yourself as someone whose time and attention are not easily given away, others begin to value and seek it more earnestly. We often hear about playing hard to get in relationships, but this isn't about games, it's about understanding human nature. If you're always available, always responding instantly, and always there at someone's convenience, they may start to take you for granted. Instead of becoming a cherished presence, you risk becoming a predictable part of their routine. But when you step back, when you prioritize yourself and your time, people begin to wonder about you, miss you, and respect you more. In friendships, the same rule applies. Think of a friend who is always calling, texting, or making plans. While their effort is appreciated, their constant presence can sometimes feel overwhelming. Now think about a friend who is busy with their own life, yet when they do make time for you, it feels special. That limited time together holds more value because it isn't given freely at all times. It's a choice, not an obligation. This concept extends beyond personal relationships and friendships. It applies to professional and social settings as well. In the workplace, employees who are always available, always saying yes, and never setting boundaries often find themselves overworked and underappreciated. However, those who create a sense of exclusivity around their skills, who manage their availability wisely, and who make others earn their time, tend to be more respected and valued. Social media and modern technology make it easy to be constantly present, but this often dilutes the value of true connection. When you post every detail of your life online, there is no mystery left. But when you selectively share, when you step back and allow others to wonder about you, you create curiosity and anticipation. This makes every interaction more meaningful because it isn't drowned in excess. People admire what feels rare. This is why celebrities, influencers, and high-profile figures carefully curate their appearances and interactions. They know that being seen too much reduces their impact. The same principle applies to everyday life. If you want to be appreciated, respected, and even missed, you must learn the power of controlled absence. Scarcity is not about manipulation, it's about self-respect. It's about knowing your worth and understanding that not everyone should have unlimited access to you. The more you prioritize your own time and energy, the more others will respect and value. People often fail to appreciate what is always available to them. It is only when something or someone is missing that they begin to realize its true value. This is a natural human tendency. We become so accustomed to things being present that we take them for granted, assuming they will always be there. But the moment they are gone, we start to feel their absence, and only then do we fully understand their significance. Consider how we often overlook the beauty of everyday life, the warmth of the sun, the presence of a loved one, or even the comfort of a familiar place. These seem ordinary until we lose them. The same applies to people. When you are always around, people may forget to acknowledge your presence because they assume you will always be available. But when you step away, even for a short time, they begin to realize what they are missing. Relationships of all kinds, whether romantic, familial, or professional, thrive on a balance of presence and absence. If you are constantly present, people may not take the time to reflect on what you bring into their lives. However, when you remove yourself for a while, it forces them to think about your role, your impact, and the void left in your absence. This reflection leads to a deeper appreciation of you and your value. Absence is a powerful tool in strengthening connections. Have you ever noticed how reunions after long separations feel more meaningful? Whether it's meeting an old friend after years or returning home after traveling, the experience is filled with excitement and appreciation. That time apart allows emotions to build, memories to resurface, and gratitude to grow. Without that period of absence, the same level of appreciation would not exist. This idea also applies in romantic relationships. When couples spend every moment together, they may begin to feel a sense of routine rather than excitement. While closeness is important, too much of it can lead to familiarity that dulls the spark. However, when partners take time apart, whether through personal hobbies, work, or travel, they create space for longing. That longing makes reunion sweeter and strengthens the emotional bond. In friendships, absence allows both individuals to grow independently. Friendships that require constant interaction can sometimes become draining. But when each person has time to live their own experiences, pursue their own passions, and develop individually, they bring more to the friendship. The time apart allows them to miss each other, making their moments together more valuable and fulfilling. Even in professional environments, absence can be a strategic tool. A leader or mentor who is always present may not be as impactful as one who carefully chooses when to step in. When people have space to work on their own, they develop independence and a deeper appreciation for guidance when it is given. A well-timed absence allows others to realize the importance of leadership and expertise, making them value it even more when it returns. The key to making absence work in your favor is balance. It is not about disappearing completely, but about allowing enough space for others to notice your worth. When you create this space intentionally, you give people the chance to reflect on your value, miss your presence, and appreciate you in ways they never did before. There is something undeniably compelling about mystery. Human beings are naturally curious creatures drawn to what they do not fully understand. When everything about a person is revealed too soon, interest can quickly fade. However, when someone maintains an air of mystery, it keeps others intrigued, wanting to know more. Mystery is powerful because it engages the imagination, making a person more fascinating and desirable. In relationships, both romantic and platonic, people are often most drawn to those who are not entirely predictable. If someone shares every detail of their life too quickly, there is little left to discover. But when someone reveals themselves gradually in layers, it creates anticipation. Others become eager to uncover more, making each new interaction exciting and meaningful. This principle is evident in storytelling. The best books and movies don't reveal everything about a character in the first chapter or scene. Instead, they allow details to unfold over time, keeping the audience engaged. When a person applies this idea to their own life, by being intriguing rather than predictable, they naturally become more captivating. People love to figure things out, and when you give them just enough information to spark curiosity, they will keep coming back for more. Social media has made it easy to overshare, but this often works against attraction. When people post every aspect of their lives online, there is no element of surprise left. They become entirely predictable, and predictability often leads to disinterest. On the other hand, those who share selectively, who leave parts of their lives unseen, create a sense of mystery that keeps others guessing. The less people know, the more they want to find out. In professional and social settings, mystery can also be a strategic advantage. A person who does not always reveal their thoughts immediately commands attention when they do speak. Their words carry more weight because they are not constantly giving away their ideas. A quiet confidence, paired with a selective approach to sharing information, often makes others perceive a person as more insightful and respected. Attraction is not just about looks or charm, it is about emotional engagement. When someone remains slightly unpredictable, when their emotions, thoughts, and actions cannot always be anticipated, they keep others emotionally invested. This applies in friendships, dating, and even leadership. People follow those who intrigue them, those who make them feel like there is always more to learn. Maintaining an air of mystery is not about deception or manipulation. It is about pacing the way you reveal yourself. When you hold back certain aspects of your personality, not because you are hiding them, but because you understand the power of timing, you create a presence that people find irresistible. They respect the fact that you do not give everything away too easily, and that alone makes them value every moment they do get with you. Mystery, when used correctly, strengthens connections rather than weakens them. It makes people feel excited to learn more about you, to spend time with you, and to earn the privilege of knowing the deeper aspects of who you are. Instead of being easily understood and taken for granted, you become someone people want to pursue, to figure out, and to appreciate fully. When something is always within reach, it becomes less exciting and less valued. This applies to relationships, opportunities, and even personal presence. If you are always available, always saying yes, and always at someone's disposal, people begin to take you for granted. They stop seeing your presence as a privilege and start viewing it as an expectation. Over time, this leads to complacency, where appreciation fades and your value is no longer recognized. Consider how we treat things that are constantly available. Imagine living near a beautiful beach or a famous landmark. At first, you might be in awe of it, visiting frequently and appreciating its beauty. But as time goes on, that excitement fades. The beach is always there, so you start overlooking it. The same principle applies to human interactions. When you are always around, people subconsciously assume that you will always be there, making them less likely to cherish your time and presence. This is particularly true in relationships. At the start of a new friendship or romantic connection, people often put in effort to spend time together and communicate meaningfully. But if one person is always available, always the first to text, always ready to adjust their plans, always willing to give their time without hesitation, the balance shifts. The other person stops making an effort because they assume they don't need to. The moment you stop being a challenge, you stop being appreciated. In professional environments, too much availability can also be a disadvantage. Employees who always say yes to extra work, always respond immediately to emails, and never set boundaries often find themselves overworked and underappreciated. Their effort becomes expected rather than recognized. On the other hand, those who manage their time wisely, set clear boundaries, and make their contributions feel exclusive are often valued more. Their presence and work are seen as intentional rather than automatic. Socially, being too accessible can also diminish your perceived value. If you always attend every event, always answer every message immediately, and never give people the chance to miss you, they may stop seeing you as someone special. There's a reason why people get excited when someone who rarely attends gatherings finally shows up. Their presence feels unique, like a rare opportunity, but if you are always there, your presence loses its impact. One of the biggest reasons why too much availability breeds complacency is the lack of contrast. People appreciate things more when they experience moments without them. A meal is much more satisfying when you're hungry, and a warm jacket is most appreciated on a cold day. Similarly, when someone experiences life without you for a while, they become more aware of the value you bring when you return. But if you never step away, they never get the chance to feel that contrast. This doesn't mean you should play games or intentionally ignore people. It simply means that creating space can enhance appreciation. When you take time for yourself, focus on your own life, and let others reach out to you instead of always being the one to initiate, you shift the dynamic. Suddenly, your time becomes more meaningful because it is not given away too easily. At its core, being less available is about self-respect. It's about valuing your time and energy enough to ensure that others do the same. People naturally respect what they have to work for. And when they realize they can't always have access to you whenever they want, they begin to appreciate you more. Any relationship, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, emotional space is essential for growth. When two people are constantly in each other's presence, without time for individual reflection, the relationship can become overwhelming rather than fulfilling. Space allows each person to breathe, process their emotions, and return with a renewed appreciation for the connection. Without it, even the strongest relationships can feel suffocating. Think about a garden. If plants are packed too closely together, they compete for nutrients, water, and sunlight. Some may thrive, but others will wither due to lack of space. Relationships work in a similar way. When there is no emotional space, one person may feel drained, while the other may feel frustrated. But when each person has the freedom to grow independently, they can come back together as stronger, healthier individuals. Emotional space does not mean distance or disinterest, it means trust and confidence in the relationship. When two people trust that their bond is strong enough to withstand time apart, they develop a deeper connection. They no longer rely on constant communication for reassurance. Instead, they know that even in moments of separation, their relationship remains intact. This level of trust fosters emotional security and mutual respect. In romantic relationships, too much togetherness can sometimes lead to a loss of individuality. It is easy to become so intertwined with someone else that you forget your own interests, passions, and identity. But when both partners have the space to pursue their own hobbies, friendships, and personal growth, they bring more to the relationship. Instead of losing themselves in each other, they enhance each other's lives by being whole individuals first. Friendships also benefit from emotional space. While close friends enjoy spending time together, an excess of constant communication can lead to burnout. True friendships do not require daily interaction to remain strong. In fact, the best friendships often thrive on periods of absence, where both individuals experience life separately and then come back together with new stories, insights, and perspectives to share. In the workplace, emotional space is just as important. Micromanaging is a common issue that stems from a lack of trust in others' abilities. When managers or colleagues constantly check in, it can create a sense of pressure and frustration. However, when people are given the space to work independently and make their own decisions, they feel more valued and respected. This leads to greater confidence, creativity, and overall productivity. Even within families, emotional space plays a crucial role. Parents who give their children room to explore their own interests and make mistakes allow them to develop independence and resilience. Similarly, siblings and relatives who maintain healthy boundaries avoid unnecessary conflict and strengthen their bonds by respecting each other's need for solitude and self-reflection. The key to building stronger bonds through emotional space is balance. It's about knowing when to be present and when to step back. It's about understanding that true connection does not come from constant proximity, but from allowing each person the freedom to be themselves while still cherishing the relationship. Before seeking validation from others, you must first recognize your own value. Too often, people look to relationships, friendships, or external achievements to define their worth. They rely on compliments, attention, or approval to feel good about themselves. But true confidence comes from within. When you know your own worth, you do not need constant reassurance from others. You carry yourself with a quiet strength that naturally attracts respect and admiration. Self-worth is not about arrogance or thinking you are better than others. It is about understanding that you are enough as you are. When you deeply believe in your own value, you stop settling for less than you deserve. You no longer tolerate one-sided relationships, toxic friendships, or environments that drain your energy. Instead, you align yourself with people and situations that uplift, support, and respect you. One of the biggest mistakes people make is tying their worth to how others treat them. If someone ignores them, they feel invisible. If someone praises them, they feel important. This creates an emotional roller coaster where happiness is dependent on external validation. But when your self-worth comes from within, no one else's opinion has the power to control your emotions. You become unshakable because your value is not up for debate, it is something you have already decided. Setting boundaries is a direct reflection of self-worth. When you believe you deserve respect, you do not allow others to take advantage of you. You are not afraid to say no when something does not serve your best interests. People who struggle with low self-worth often overextend themselves, hoping that by constantly giving they will be appreciated. But true self-respect means recognizing that you do not have to overcompensate to be worthy of love and respect. Focusing on your self-worth also changes how you approach relationships. Instead of chasing people who do not reciprocate your energy, you invest in those who genuinely appreciate you. You stop trying to prove your worth to those who cannot see it, and instead you allow the right people to find you. When you respect yourself, others naturally follow suit. Those who do not will fade away, making room for those who truly value you. Another important aspect of self-worth is how you speak to yourself. Many people are their own worst critics, constantly doubting their abilities or belittling their achievements. But the way you talk to yourself shapes your reality. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, you will act accordingly. However, when you affirm your strengths, recognize your growth, and treat yourself with kindness, your confidence grows, and you carry yourself differently. Personal growth becomes a priority when you put your self-worth first. You focus on improving yourself not for validation, but because you genuinely want to be the best version of yourself. This means setting goals, challenging yourself, and stepping outside of your comfort zone. When your sense of worth comes from within, you do not fear failure as much because you know that mistakes do not define you, they help you grow. When you prioritize self-worth, you also become more selective with your time and energy. You no longer feel the need to please everyone or say yes to things that drain you. Instead, you protect your peace, surround yourself with people who uplift you, and engage in activities that align with your values. This shift creates a life where you feel more fulfilled and in control of your own happiness. At the core of it all, self-worth is about believing in yourself, even when no one else does. It is about standing firm in who you are, refusing to let external circumstances dictate your value. When you put yourself first in a healthy way, everything else falls into place. People respect you more, relationships become healthier, and life becomes more fulfilling because you are no longer searching for worth, you already know you have it. There is a significant difference between being missed and being ignored. When you are missed, people feel your absence and long for your presence. When you are ignored, people do not notice whether you are there or not. The key to being missed is to create meaningful connections and add genuine value to the lives of others. When you leave an impression that is both deep and positive, people will feel the void when you are not around. One of the main reasons people get ignored is because they try too hard to be noticed. Constantly seeking attention, over-explaining yourself, or always being available can make others take you for granted. Instead of chasing attention, focus on being someone whose presence is naturally valued. This means being engaging, offering thoughtful conversations, and knowing when to step back to let others recognize your worth. To be missed, you must make your interactions memorable. People remember those who make them feel good, who inspire them, or who challenge them in meaningful ways. If every conversation you have is filled with authenticity and depth, people will associate your presence with something valuable. When you are not around, they will crave that level of connection again. Another important factor in being missed is the balance between presence and absence. If you are always available, people may not appreciate your time as much. But if you occasionally take a step back, whether by prioritizing yourself, taking time to focus on personal goals, or simply not being overly accessible, others will begin to notice your absence. This contrast creates a feeling of longing rather than indifference. In relationships, it is easy to assume that constant presence is the key to closeness. However, when you are always there, your presence can become routine rather than special. Giving people the space to experience life without you for a while allows them to truly feel your absence. When they realize how much you contribute to their lives, they will naturally miss you and seek you out rather than taking you for granted. The workplace is another setting where this principle applies. Employees who always say yes to every request and never set boundaries often become invisible to their colleagues and superiors. Their work is expected rather than appreciated. However, those who create a sense of exclusivity around their time and contributions are valued more. When they are away, their presence is missed because the quality of their work and their unique contributions stand out. Socially, people who are mysterious and selective about where and how they show up are often more intriguing. If you are at every event, responding instantly to every message, or always the one initiating conversations, people may stop valuing your presence. But if you are selective, making strategic appearances and allowing others to wonder about you from time to time, your presence carries more weight when you do engage. Being missed also means having self-respect. If people ignore you, it is a sign that they do not value your presence. Instead of trying to prove your worth to those who do not appreciate you, shift your focus to those who recognize and respect your value. Invest in relationships where your absence is felt, not in ones where your presence is ignored. At its core, being missed is about knowing your worth and ensuring that your time and energy are appreciated. By making meaningful connections, creating value, setting boundaries, and allowing space for longing, you naturally become someone people notice not just when you are there, but especially when you are not. It is not how often you show up that makes an impact, it is how present you are when you do. Many people believe that the more time they spend with others, the stronger their relationships will be. However, true connection is not built on frequency alone. It is built on meaningful interactions. Being physically present all the time does not guarantee emotional closeness, but being fully engaged in the moments you share does. When you focus on presence over frequency, every interaction becomes more valuable. People appreciate quality over quantity, and when you bring your full attention, energy, and authenticity to the time you spend with them, they remember those moments. A single deep conversation can leave a stronger impression than 100 surface-level exchanges. It is the depth of connection that matters, not just the number of encounters. This principle applies to all types of relationships: romantic, platonic, professional, and even familial. A partner who spends hours together with you but is always distracted by their phone or other obligations does not create a strong bond. On the other hand, a partner who is fully engaged, even if only for a short time, makes that time feel significant and memorable. The same goes for friends, colleagues, and family members. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that constant communication is the key to closeness. In reality, too much contact without meaningful engagement can actually make interactions feel repetitive and stale. Relationships thrive when there is space for people to miss each other, reflect on their interactions, and come back together with fresh energy and appreciation. At work, presence over frequency is just as important. Employees who are always in meetings or constantly responding to messages may seem engaged, but if they are not fully present in their contributions, their impact is minimal. A person who speaks less frequently but delivers strong, thoughtful insights when they do gains more respect than someone who is always talking but saying little of value. Social interactions also benefit from this approach. Some people feel pressured to attend every gathering, respond to every message immediately, or be constantly available. However, being selective about where and how you show up makes your presence feel more special. When people know that you are not always accessible, but that when you are fully present, they begin to appreciate those moments more. This is why some of the most respected and admired individuals are not those who are always around, but those who make their presence felt when they are. Their absence creates anticipation, and their presence leaves a lasting impact. They do not need to be everywhere all the time because their energy and engagement make every appearance meaningful. Being present also means eliminating distractions and giving your full attention to the people and experiences in front of you. In a world filled with digital noise, undivided attention has become rare and valuable. When you listen deeply, engage genuinely, and make others feel truly seen and heard, you leave an impression that lasts far beyond the moment itself. Ultimately, presence over frequency is about making every interaction count. It is about focusing on the quality of your connections rather than trying to maintain constant contact. When you prioritize being truly engaged over simply being available, you become someone whose presence is treasured rather than taken for granted. People naturally value and appreciate things they have to put effort into attaining. When something is easily accessible or given without any effort, it often goes unappreciated. This applies to material possessions, opportunities, and especially relationships. When people have to invest time, energy, or effort into something, they develop a stronger sense of attachment and respect for it. Think about how people treat expensive items versus things they get for free. If someone buys a luxury car after years of saving and hard work, they will likely take great care of it, ensuring it stays in the best condition. However, if they win the same car in a raffle without any effort, they may not value it as much. The same principle applies to human connections. When people have to earn your time, trust, or attention, they appreciate it more. One of the biggest mistakes people make in relationships is making themselves too easily available. Whether it's always texting first, always saying yes, or always adjusting your schedule to fit someone else's needs, this can create an imbalance. When people do not have to work to maintain a connection, they may start taking it for granted. By setting boundaries and allowing others to meet you halfway, you encourage mutual respect and effort. This is especially true in romantic relationships. If one person is always chasing while the other is effortlessly receiving attention, the dynamic becomes one-sided. However, when both partners invest in each other through meaningful conversations, shared experiences, and personal growth, the relationship feels more balanced and fulfilling. The effort put in strengthens the bond, making the connection more valuable to both individuals. Friendships also thrive on mutual effort. When both people make an effort to stay in touch, support each other, and spend time together, the friendship feels meaningful. But when one person is always reaching out while the other barely reciprocates, the imbalance leads to frustration and eventual disinterest. People respect friendships that require effort on both sides, as these create a deeper and more lasting connection. In professional settings, respect is often earned through effort and discipline. Employees who have worked hard to develop their skills, prove their reliability, and establish themselves in their careers are more respected than those who expect opportunities to be handed to them. Similarly, leaders who make their teams earn their trust and responsibility often build stronger, more disciplined work environments compared to those who give away authority too easily. Even in personal development, the things you work for hold more value than things that come easily. A person who spends years mastering a skill or building a business will have a greater sense of pride and appreciation for their achievements than someone who inherits success without any struggle. The journey of working towards something creates a deeper sense of accomplishment and respect for the results. This principle also explains why people appreciate relationships and opportunities more when they have to wait for them. Instant gratification often leads to fleeting appreciation, while delayed rewards create lasting value. When people have to invest time and effort to gain your attention, your approval, or a meaningful relationship with you, they naturally hold it in higher regard. At its core, people respect what they work for because effort builds attachment, appreciation, and value. When you allow others to invest in you rather than giving everything away too easily, you create relationships, opportunities, and experiences that are deeply respected and truly cherished. Leaving a lasting impression on people is not about being the loudest in the room or constantly demanding attention. It is about creating moments, emotions, and connections that people cannot easily forget. To be truly unforgettable, you must bring something unique to the table, whether it is your energy, your kindness, your wisdom, or your ability to make others feel seen and valued. When people associate you with a meaningful impact, they will remember you long after you are gone. Authenticity is one of the strongest factors in being unforgettable. People may forget what you say or do, but they will always remember how you made them feel. When you are genuine, people trust you and form deeper connections with you. Pretending to be someone you are not might earn short-term attention, but true influence and memorability come from being unapologetically yourself. Another key to being unforgettable is offering value in your relationships. Whether it is through insightful advice, a listening ear, or simply bringing joy into someone's life, being a person who adds something meaningful makes you stand out. People cherish those who inspire, uplift, and challenge them in ways that help them grow. When you positively impact someone's life, they will always remember your presence. Memorable people also know how to create powerful experiences. Whether it is through storytelling, humor, or deep conversations, they leave an imprint on those they meet. They make people feel excited, inspired, or comforted in a way that is rare. A great conversation, an unforgettable adventure, or a unique perspective can make someone think about you long after you have left the room. Having a strong personal presence is another way to be unforgettable. This does not mean being the center of attention at all times, but rather carrying yourself with confidence, warmth, and purpose. The way you walk into a room, the way you speak with conviction, and the way you engage with others can leave a lasting impression. People remember those who make an impact just by being themselves. Being kind in a world that often lacks kindness is another way to make yourself unforgettable. People never forget the ones who helped them when they were struggling, who showed them kindness when they felt alone, or who believed in them when no one else did. Simple acts of generosity and compassion create a deep emotional imprint that lasts far longer than superficial interactions. Standing for something meaningful also makes a person unforgettable. Those who have strong values, take bold actions, and inspire change are always remembered. Whether it is fighting for a cause, expressing unique ideas, or living life with passion and purpose, being someone who stands out from the crowd ensures that your presence lingers in people's minds. Consistency plays a huge role in being remembered. If you are kind one day but indifferent the next, or if you make grand gestures but disappear when it matters, people will struggle to form a lasting impression of you. Being consistently thoughtful, engaging, and impactful cements your presence in people's hearts and minds. Ultimately, to be remembered, you must be unforgettable in the way you connect, communicate, and contribute. It is not about impressing everyone, but about leaving a meaningful mark on the right people. Those who make a difference, who bring light into others' lives, and who leave people better than they found them are the ones who truly stand the test of time. The heart of it all. Being missed is not about playing games or forcing others to notice you. It is about knowing your worth and carrying yourself in a way that commands respect and admiration. When you focus on self-worth, meaningful connections, and leaving a lasting impact, people will naturally value your presence and feel your absence. Life is too short to chase after those who do not appreciate you or to blend into the background without making an impression. Instead, strive to be someone whose presence is deeply felt and whose absence is truly noticed. Prioritize quality over quantity, presence over frequency, and respect over desperation. When you do, you will not have to demand attention. People will miss you because your presence made a real difference in their lives. So step into your power, set your standards high, and let your absence be as impactful as your presence. Because when you live with authenticity, confidence, and purpose, you become truly unforgettable.